Right. 1, 2.
Hello.
Based upon the quality and quantity of the data they continue to return.
Welcome to Two Ordinary Blokes from the Woodland Realm.
Who's the Hobbit?
Now, welcome to the Exploding Paella podcast.
With me, Joseph. I forgot I was even here.
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, what is it? You'll find us on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify, wherever you are watching. Please do give it a like and subscribe. It's massively appreciated. And check the description for more information, where you'll find a link to our Patreon page. Hello, Joe.
Hello. I would be really interested to know if people find it better if we're more or less professional. Because I'm not struggling with the less professional bit.
I think less. Less,
Good,
definitely.
Good.
I enjoy the fact that we just, waffle initially.
Well, that is the whole
before
point,
you
isn't it?
Start getting all serious on me.
I'm sorry.
But
how do you expect
about
to
the
be
budget and politics and everything
what
else?
people never know is what the precursor to these conversations is. They never know what comes before.
It's
Now,
the beauty of a camera, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being able to turn it off.
Now, prior to this, I feel like it was a very strange occurrence where you were talking about this lovely snack which consisted of lettuce and Himalayan sea salt, which I was very dismissive of.
Yeah.
And
knock it till you try it, mate.
then you told me that the Romans partook in this, which I found very hard to believe for multiple reasons. But, I'm going to take your word on that.
Yeah, for now.
And as it's the new year and I've been making a conscious effort of trying to be standard, do exercise.
You're making a concerted effort to be standard.
To be standard, to be a standard person, because I feel like I was substandard last year.
Right.
Minimal exercise, not eating as healthy as I should eat. So as I'm trying to be standard, I feel like now I need to explore my culinary options and snack choices.
Yeah.
And
what were those snack? What were they? Snack gherkins?
yeah,
the I'll bring them in the second half.
Yeah.
We can try one. We'll rate them out of 10. They're like these slippery little gherkins.
gherkin fingers.
Tiny gherkins.
I didn't want to compare them to anything else, but yeah.
So yeah, and we are a bit behind on releasing some of the episodes at the moment, but I am catching up. There's just a couple of things that we need to do. But yeah, I do need to reiterate what you said in either the first or second episode, that sometimes we will get things wrong.
Yes.
Okay? And we might be chatting absolute nonsense, but that's where we invite people into the comments to put us right, because part of our conversations, certainly for me, I end up learning a lot, you know what I mean? And we'll discuss something and go, no, that's not right. Oh, I thought it was this.
Yeah.
And then you go away and you look into it. And so it is a process of learning, even if sometimes your assumptions or your recalled memory doesn't serve you correctly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the one that I was editing was episode 4, where, I'd mentioned that actually I didn't profess to know this, but you said, what was the original version of the Bible written in?
Yeah.
And I said Ethiopian, I thought. That is actually incorrect, but it's like a common misconception, because apparently it's the oldest known version, and it contains a lot of more books that have been lost, and so people often say that, but it's not actually true.
It is also a difficult thing, that particular, because there probably isn't one hard and fast fact, because obviously it's so old, and we know that pre to the common versions, there's a little bit of conjecture about how many books were put together to produce the first books and all these kind of things, because you can't know. I mean, how old is the Old Testament, the traditional version?
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure. It kept referring to it as the original canon. Right. Which I always thought canon was to do with music. And that type of canon as well that goes bang.
I was thinking more the
camera. Oh, there we go. You see, right. It's I
didn't immediately go to 17th century
weaponry.
Weapons. No. Maybe that says more about you than me. I don't know.
Fair enough. But so that was just one correction that I do need to make on that. And I think we did say earlier, oh my gosh, I'm getting attacked by the Wi-Fi.
Oh, don't do that.
Wi-Fi antenna. Anyway.
5G or?
Eh?
Is it 5G?
5G.
Yeah. You got to watch out for that.
No, I've got that thing on again.
What have you done?
It's the switch on the back that takes the bass out. It's like a high cut.
So did you sound like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks
it's really,
for a bit?
No, there's nothing to do with pitch. It's just the bass. It takes the bass out of it. But I noticed I'd done that on another episode and it was like really quiet. So anyway, I'm here now. How are you, Joe? Did
you ever watch Alvin and the Chipmunks? Don't disappoint me.
Yeah, like I've seen it. I never watched it.
I was just present while I was there. Film. I mean, first of all...
Oh, wow, yes.
Yeah, I need to...
I think we need to, like, make way for this. Let's just move all this out.
It's quite impressive. It's a very stern-looking... I'm presuming gentleman, but I won't say for certain. But they're apparently a sushi chef, as well as a timer.
Yeah.
And they will be the master of ceremonies today.
Look, but this is going to turn into, like, a little bit of a chess... Oh, we could actually have enough timers to play chess with. So that's like these all need to move out the way because
I'm gonna put him facing
stage.
The wrong way. So when it's been half an hour, he'll be facing the right way.
Okay.
But he does look quite messy.
Messy. Looks like Messi.
Looks like Lionel Messi if he made sushi. He's supposed to be a sushi chef.
What's on his head though?
Menacing, I was going to say. He's very menacing. Well, I think that's supposed to be some
anvil.
Kind of Japanese cultural. I don't know. But anyway, we're not going. I won't go into that.
It's absolutely wonderful. It's magnificent.
Yes,
it is, and it takes centre stage. Eventually, we will have a shelf
filled
for all the timers.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a bigger desk so we can have the laptop here so we can fact check.
We can fact check ourselves.
Yeah.
Which won't be the most fun for me because I'm sure 75 to 90% of what I say is...
nonsensical.
Yeah, non-Googleable or you'll get put on a terrorist watch list.
There is that as well. Yeah.
But yeah.
So what do you know?
What do I know?
What's
I know
on your
I
mind?
hurt today. Because I've been doing too much exercise, which
you said that.
Any amount is too much for me.
Right.
But it's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how sitting down for this length of time goes. I may inadvertently suddenly get a foot cramp. So if I look like I'm wincing and possibly soiling myself, it's a foot cramp.
Soiling yourself?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
It's a weird term, soiling. I don't understand. I don't get it. Why is it soiling yourself?
Well, when something's soiled, it means I don't know.
It must go back to like I don't know. I've been to the fields. I've got a potato out of the field. It's so badly soiled, it's unedible.
Yeah,
I physically can't get it up.
Does it actually relate to the word soil, as in
I don't
earth?
Know. It's like you're sitting on a stool, but you don't want to sit on a stool.
Oh no!
Oh, you've soiled yourself. Already?
I literally have. You just reminded me I was sitting on a stool and I pressed the button.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I literally soiled myself.
But yeah, like there's certain words, so obviously every year you get new colloquialisms that end up in the, new slang that ends up in the dictionary. Yeah. But they don't take all the old stuff out necessarily that no one's got any, there's always those odd... No, I don't think so.
No?
Just make it smaller. Get rid of...
Right.
So, like, eventually, if they get rid of them, though, eventually you'll end up with, like, I don't know, that's on peak. So something being peak as being really good.
Right.
Get rid of the word good. You can't say that anymore.
That wouldn't happen, though. I think there's, like, base language, isn't there, that's, like, not going to... Well, actually...
of course it does.
Yeah, I mean, because ye olde English, that's... There's a lot of words, I suppose, that, just get, exhausted. Oh, dear.
I know the feeling.
I'm going to struggle today. I'm really going to struggle today.
You always say that, and you always pull through, and it's fine.
I know, but I've just been a little bit overexcited the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And, I I just need to.
I was thinking about this the other day, talking about being overexcited. By overexcited, we mean partaking in beverages or whatnot.
No, not just that. Cubase 15.
Well, partaking in Cubase 15.
Upgrading to Cubase 15 has just been absolutely phenomenal. It has, and I've just been very excited. And it's like, you know, a friend of mine who you know, Mike Johnson. He got into, well, he still is. He's into like music making. He's got loads of synths now and like a Roland. Can't remember which one it is, but you know, he's got like these keyboards set up. And he says, he said to me, he totally gets it, because even it's like, oh, I need a drink, but I'll wait, I'll put it off. You don't even want to leave it because you're so into it. Yeah. You think, no, I really need a drink. I'm dying of thirst, but it can wait because you know, you're so carried away kind of thing. And it is a bit like that with even sort of sleep and, you know, eating routine and stuff. I get so carried away in music, and especially with the upgrade at the minute and how that's all going. And then I'm like, you know, it's 8:30 and I haven't eaten, and
you don't want to break
that
creativeness.
You know, once you're in it,
you feel like if I stop, that's it. I'm going to lose my path.
It feels like that, which you do sometimes. Sometimes you don't. But I do always find that, like, whether it's something to do with because I know when you've eaten a lot, it's why people go to sleep, because it draws a lot of blood into the stomach. Yeah. So you actually get less oxygen in the brain. Right. There's less blood flow in the brain, apparently, so I've heard. But there is that thing that sometimes I've been really on a tune of singing and everything else, and you've got full of energy, you know, you're buzzing from it. And then you go and eat and you go, and you just don't have that same momentum. It's not that you're not into it anymore. It's just like, I don't know, you need to chill out. So I always put it off because I don't want to.
I think it's like that with anything creative, though. You know, like if you've ever tried writing short stories or anything. I used to, many moons ago, write some short stories. Oh, really? And I always found it really like therapeutic, and really great to feel like this creative outlet. But like when you're in the midst of it, you wouldn't want to stop because you just feel like it's flowing, and you're, you know, and it can be hard, I think, as well, because it can be hard to get yourself into that. It's a lot harder to start than when you're in the midst of it. Yeah. So once you get going, it's like, I don't want to lose this, you know. Yeah,
100%. 100%. And again, it's just so, that's unfortunately the last couple of days for me have been, just like, I don't know, pushing myself too much and not, you know. And then also, like, you know, the sleeping thing, you want to go to bed, but it's like, no, not yet. So, yes, I possibly am going to struggle. I thought I was going to leave you to do all the talking, but I seem to have...
You've been doing all right, haven't you?
I think so. We shall see.
Well, the most exciting thing that happened to me in the past week was I attended a first aid course. Yeah. Although the woman doing it was... she was ex-paramedic.
Right, so ex-paramedic.
Yeah, well, she's like 64 now, so I think she's retired from paramedicing.
There you go, there's a word. Dictionary is growing.
Retired from being a paramedic, and she's teaching like first aid courses and teaching other stuff. So of course, because she was an ex-paramedic, she was like very to the point about, matter of fact about, you know, injuries or whatever. And of course then she was just telling her stories about all these gruesome things she'd encountered. Right. Which I don't think when you're teaching someone how to do first aid, you should tell them about all these horrible things that have happened that they might have to deal with if they do first aid. But it was interesting. Yeah. And she was teaching us about how to use a tourniquet and all these other things. A tourniquet.
What's that?
You know, so if you've got like an arterial bleed, right? So you're going to bleed out basically. Yeah. And it takes about 2 minutes. So you can make a makeshift tourniquet, or if you've got a proper made-up tourniquet. Right, to put pressure on it. Is that what it's called?
It
cuts the blood supply off. Right, so you do it up so tight. So she's like, you know, have a practice. You can practice on yourselves. That was the worst idea ever. I tried to stand up afterwards. I was like, oh my God. My leg's just totally dead. So I know how to do one now because I clearly proved it. But there was a little while afterwards, I was worried the blood flow wasn't going to come back. And I've just killed my right leg. But no, it was interesting. It was interesting. I was really...
You got a little certificate?
Yes. Yeah. I'd done one many years ago, but actually this woman was really good and she made it a lot more interesting.
Oh, okay.
I kind of like, it's one of them things that everyone's always like with work, oh, I've got to go on a first aid course. But actually, if you get someone that's good, you come away from it not thinking, I hope someone kills over so I can use it. But if it does happen, you'd be like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you feel well equipped and prepared. Yeah.
No, but but that's about it really.
Right.
Work,
Okay.
usual stuff. Keeping in touch with world affairs and whatnot.
Are you?
Looking on a daily or bi-daily basis. Who says that? When did you? How often do you? Do you do any exercise? Well, I mainly go for bi-daily. What?
That makes sense, though. You say
does,
bi-yearly,
but you just wouldn't say it, would you?
No. Well,
I mean, would you?
You did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. The only thing I know is Greenland.
Is a place.
Yeah, Donald Trump wants to take Greenland, which apparently he said is just essentially a lump of ice.
Yeah.
That was his words, apparently.
It's a really weird thing because,
very strange.
What he's doing at the minute is just a bit bizarre because obviously he had the whole Venezuela thing, which we talked about last week. And the thing with Venezuela is like if you said, oh, you're going in there for oil, which obviously we talked about anyway, so I won't go over that again, but obviously their whole infrastructure is really out of place and it would take years of spending to get it up to the point where you can actually make the most of that oil.
Yeah.
And then with Greenland, he says about security and also that there's minerals there, but most of the minerals, they don't know what's down there, and it's like, I don't know, 75-80% covered in ice. So it's not really viable to dig for minerals. So it's like, what are you doing? And then he's been to the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, Davos is the place to be. I always just imagine like there's the out and out, like, all the rooms with them all having their talks and everything, and then in the background they all put on like James Bond-esque villain outfits and sit around and have like a Chinese or something.
Stroking like a.
Well, there's a fish tank with a shark in it.
Yeah, there probably is.
There probably is, yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of that we don't get to see.
Oh yeah, and that's where all the deals are done in the background and stuff. But it was interesting because he wants to form this peace group,
right?
And as Elon Musk pointed out, actually, does he actually mean PIECE? As in, I'm going to go and take a piece of Venezuela. I'll have a piece of Greenland.
Yeah, peace movement.
Yeah, and not
possibly.
Peace. Yeah, very bizarre. Very bizarre. I mean,
I
don't know. Trump's just an odd character as well because he's so old now. What is he, like 79 or something?
I have no idea.
He can't get elected again. So anything...
Can he not?
No, you're only allowed to serve 2 terms in America. So I say he can't get elected again. He would have to get the Supreme Court and the Senate and whatnot to agree to change the Constitution so he could run for... Or maybe it's not in the Constitution, maybe it's just a law.
Yeah.
That he could run for a 3rd term.
Oh, okay.
But I would imagine that was put in a long time ago, like with the Constitution, where... Because obviously a lot of the Constitution was more about making sure that people didn't try and extend power that they shouldn't have. Yeah. So, like, you're allowed to have free speech, own a gun, all these things that they were like, they're set in stone.
All to stop a government becoming too powerful.
Yeah,
basically. So that essentially a set of rules so that the government could always be overthrown if it went tyrannical.
Yeah, because they had... I mean, America, as we know, it was born out of revolution, wasn't it?
Right.
War against the British, that as being British we didn't ever really talk about. We weren't taught at school, I think we've been over that before. But yeah, it's interesting. So it's like, well, you've only got another, midterms are in November, so you've only got 2.5 years. You're doing all this crazy stuff. Would it not be better to be spent trying to, I don't know, I mean, obviously in his mind he thinks, well, all these things now will set America up for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But would it not be better to, rather than trying to like disillusion all your allies, because I mean, obviously the other day he said, well, if you don't let me buy Greenland, I'm going to impose tariffs now on everybody. I'm going to impose tariffs on Europe and all this kind of stuff. But that's kind of because Europe's so weak now. I mean, our militaries are not what they used to be. I mean, Britain, we always had this, like, I remember growing up, always had this idea of Great Britain. Yeah. We had the best standards of living. Amazing military, all these things that we just haven't got anymore. Yeah. I heard a staggering fact that if you go back 20 years, we're actually per capita a lot poorer now than we were 20 years ago.
Yeah, I believe that.
So people just don't realise it, and obviously that ties into the immigration thing, because obviously, governments have got this idea that if you import people because we're not having enough kids, the gross domestic product will go up, and then that makes you look richer. But then, obviously with a lot of the immigration, when you've got people that are just, maybe many of them living in the same house and stuff like that, they're not doing better off than they would have been 20 years ago. So,
No. I think they're just, I don't... Yeah, it's kind of evident and existential that things aren't, they haven't continued the trend of getting better and better. But going back to Trump, though, is like, he comes out with some nonsense, but it's, for somebody to he just says what he thinks kind of thing. And I think that's kind of quite refreshing in a sense.
But you must have had this conversation with your mum when you were a kid or your dad, because I remember it when I was a kid. And my mum saying to me, think before you speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm always more suspicious of somebody who stands up there and is blatantly reading from either a teleprompter or the thing in front of them.
Yeah.
And you think, you haven't written that. Do you know what I mean? A team of people have written that and you're just reading it. Like, you want to hear it from the person.
Yeah.
Not this team of people behind closed doors. Do you know what I mean? That have prepared this speech. And it includes all of these, significant key points. When he stands up and he's not reading, he doesn't even look down at a prepared speech or anything. Yeah, I think you're obviously going to make more mistakes if you do it that way, but at least he's doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for that.
He
went to the UN, was it last year, and the teleprompter broke.
Yeah.
And there was all that, like, did they turn it off or whatever? Did someone mess about with it?
Sabotage it? Yeah.
And he then talked for an hour over past his time of talking without a teleprompter and everything.
Yeah.
No, I do get that, and I don't think it's like it is very because I feel like if someone can talk about subjects, then that means that you would hope that they've done some research and this is genuinely what they think rather than what someone else thinks.
Yeah.
But like where I sort of have an issue with it is more like with recent things. So like things like Greenland, like there's a better way of doing it. And essentially where it would come down to with Greenland is they're never going to take it militarily because they just wouldn't do that.
No.
The end goal, the most likely end goal is, excuse me, is that he wants Greenland. So he's doing what he does in like a business deal where you go, I want to buy your company, I'll give you 2 million for it, or as the competition, I'll destroy you. Knowing full well it's worth 5 million. But they go, oh well, it's worth 5, and he goes, well, I'll do, threats, this, that, and the other. And then when he offers 3.5 or 4 million, they go, fine, take it, because they feel like they've had a good deal.
Yeah.
So if you turn around and go, right, we're just going to take Greenland, everyone's up in arms about it. Realistically, the only way you can have control over Greenland, because Denmark don't actually have full control over Greenland. Right. It's actually in their like written paperwork with it's down to the people of Greenland. So if they decide something, that's so. If Trump then went in there and said, right, we'll give because there's only like 56,000 people, we'll give everyone $100,000 if you have a referendum to say that you want to become part of America.
Yeah,
I imagine most of them would probably do it.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
The other thing is, how patriotic are you as a Greenlander? Like, if someone's...
Greenlander?
Yeah, I know.
Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah. As always makes me think like the Green Lantern, that weird superhero. If someone's going to give you 100 grand and realistically you're living on a bit of ice with probably not the best living because there's not many jobs there. It's mostly just sea fishing. Right. Their biggest export is refrigerated fish. So it's probably quite appealing.
Yeah.
And Denmark have to subsidise their budgets every year anyway. So if you think that the Americans are going to come in and start mining and people are going to, get like they do in Norway, where every citizen gets a little share of the oil wealth and stuff like that, then people would probably go for it. But I think he's just going, I don't think he has to go about everything in this way of, I'll go too far first, and then we'll wind it back and I'll get what I want.
Yeah, I just think, with some of the stuff he comes out with, even on that subject alone, at least that that's what he thinks. And you're well within your right to disagree with it. But
that's my thing. You don't know that's what he thinks, because he always goes... he always goes that one step further.
Like you say, it's a business deal, isn't it?
Yeah,
essentially.
So He's not he's never being 100. He's being transparent that he wants Greenland, but the reasons why are quite often not straightforward.
Yeah,
like with Venezuela, talking about all the oil and whatnot, when actually, really, it was because he didn't want China or Russia to have influence in South America.
Right.
So he's not. You know what I mean? There's certain things that he talks about, and he is very like, okay, that's what he thinks.
Yeah.
But these like world thing, issues.
The motive isn't
and like with Gaza,
clear.
when he just turned around and said, right, we're going to take over Gaza and turn it into a resort and kick all the Gazans out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, are you just saying that to try and get Hamas to agree to a ceasefire? Because they're thinking, God, if we get chucked out of here, we're going to end up in Egypt or wherever else, and then we'll just get arrested.
Right.
So he's...
You do wonder, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. He is what he is, you know what I mean? And,
I mean, we've not had anyone like that before that I can remember.
No.
And something's definitely got to change, and where we are kind of with the world order at the moment, I get that America's got to try and assert some dominance and sort of get themselves back to being, the world's biggest.
Yeah, which is what kind of was before. Centre stage, kind of, I suppose.
Yeah, because maybe 20 years ago, Russia wouldn't have invaded Ukraine if America was as powerful as they were then now.
Yeah, maybe.
So...
Yeah, you don't know, do you? But, so anyway, that's that. That's the news.
That wasn't
Greenland.
That's everything.
That's everything in the news.
That's everything that's happened this week.
Yeah, that's
nothing else has
everything.
happened.
That's all I know about anyway, and that's again social media clips that have popped up. But I've been trying to go on social media less.
Yeah,
to be fair, at the minute.
I try. I suppose I try to go on Facebook less for sure.
Right.
Try not to use TikTok because it just
it's
hurts my brain.
Yeah.
But I am bad for going on X, at least once a day and seeing what's going on. Which I'd like to think maybe it's the least biased, but then it's probably just in a different way, because you see it with like the people that report on there that are sort of have a similar viewpoint to Elon Musk seem to have more reach.
Right.
And whether that's true or not, or that's just because that's what you see, I don't know. But
there's a lot of stuff on there. The thing is, I've got like 2 X accounts.
Yeah.
And one is like for music.
Yeah.
So it's the, Shotty 4HF X account. And then I've got another one. And they are so different. Like what you see when you go on there, the posts and everything, what the algorithm, it's like you, in a sense, you wouldn't even tell it was the same platform.
And that probably is what it is. Yeah.
And it's, but it's an interesting space, definitely. But again, it depends what you look at.
Yeah.
There's the other one, a lot of like crypto stuff pops up and trading, and you've only got to click on 1 or 2 posts. Oh yeah. And that's it then. That's like
what really annoys. I feel like Facebook's even worse for that though.
Right, okay.
Like if an advert comes up and you don't immediately hide it and say you don't want to see more of that, you just go scroll past it, then millions more of those adverts come up. Because, like everything is one particular thing, and you're like, but how? But no, it's I always like to try and stay abreast of what's going on.
Right. You are abreast.
I am. I'm large.
Tit.
But yeah, no, it's something we were talking about ages ago, and we talked about it before with like how sort of society had changed, and the disappearance of like working men's clubs and conservatives clubs and community and stuff like that. And obviously, for a long time in our sort of British culture, drinking was has been a quite a part of it,
Yeah.
And I did wonder whether that really did go hand in hand with like the community of like those places, because yourself, if you have a drink and you're having a conversation with someone, like personally me, if I've had a drink, I'm way less confrontational. Not that I'm particularly confrontational anyway, but if I've got an opinion that's I'm more likely to be more easier going with that, if someone says something that I don't necessarily agree with. So I wondered whether there was a part to be played with people getting on and talking about things and having less boundaries with the things they talked about because they were having a few drinks.
Of course, and I think I do wonder whether that's one reason why it feels like anything that builds solidarity or community spirit or anything like that, so like the church, the pub, that kind of thing, it just seems to be getting less and less and less. And the more we see that kind of erode, sure enough, you go out there and there is less community spirit, like even, I always remember my mum saying that their gardens was, it was a really low fence. And you went out there, it was almost like a shared space.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had like a gate.
Like it was an allotment.
Kind of just, and now we have these 6 foot, 7 foot fences and you can't see over there and everybody wants privacy.
How many people know their next door neighbours?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. And it's like I try to talk to the neighbours, do you know what I mean? And when I knew it was his birthday party next door, I went round and took some beers round and stuff, and because I kind of...
Did you find out if he was a recovering alcoholic first?
The beers were flowing when I went round there, so it was fine. But it's like, even though I was on the sort of later, the tail end of that kind of era, it's still how I was kind of brought up, that you knew your neighbours and you went round there, you got on with them and everything else. But yeah, the whole pub thing, it was like, people did go to pubs, and even the games that you played, bridge, crib, the Skittles with the it was like this thing.
And, to try and compare it, sorry to cut you off really quickly, to try and compare it to like the whole AA thing. Like the reason why AA works for people is because it is like a community. Yeah. So the support is not just people that but you've got all these people that care about you, and it was like that back in the day because everybody knew everybody. Yeah. I mean, I remember 14-year-old going into a working men's club, shouldn't have been allowed in, but they didn't really care.
Oh no, they used to allow, there'd be kids in there.
Oh no, drinking.
Night. Oh right, okay, fair enough.
But it was very like they were like, oh, it's fine. Okay. But I think it's because everybody knew everybody. If you did something you shouldn't do there, some way it was getting back to your parents. Yeah. And it was that space where, you would talk to people you maybe wouldn't talk to before. There was all generations in there. Yeah. I remember we used to, like 16, 17 years old, we were a group of younger people and we were playing cards with 60, 70-year-olds, and it was just, so it is a real shame that's kind of...
Yeah, definitely, because, there's only the Conservative Club left now in town, isn't there? There used to be a Trades and Labour Club, a Working Men's Club. They've all kind of gone. And, that's how people kept in touch. I mean, now, it's like people don't need to do that anymore. I think about my daughter, and she rings her friends. They're just there on the phone, on the corner of the desk, while they carry on doing whatever it is they're doing. And that's a way of keeping in touch with that person. Before you didn't have that, you were kind of isolated if you were in your house, apart from your home phone. Yeah. So people went out to keep in touch with people and keep up to speed on what was going on in people's lives, I suppose. It was so much more essential.
Going back to the first aid course.
Wow.
There's a reason for it.
Okay.
So it was held at a community centre.
Right.
So it's a paid course, but obviously the people running the course rent a room at this community centre in the city. So in one of the breaks I just went to use the facilities, get a shower, just go to the toilet, and I walked past these two rooms, and in one room you had loads of crates, like you see, like food used to get delivered in supermarkets in these plastic crates that are stackable on top of each other, loads of them filled with food. In the next room there must have been about 100 people queuing up for these.
Wow.
And they were obviously making food bags up because it was a food bank.
Right, okay.
And in another room there was something else going on, and it was quite apparent that the main, this community centre was really acting as a community centre. Yeah. But the reason why it was, busy is because people were struggling. Right. So they needed to go in there for their, their food bags. And apparently that is massively on the rise now, that people need to use food banks. Yeah. Which is something that should never be the case. But yeah, it was just like I hadn't actually, not that I'm particularly privileged or have loads of money or anything like that, but I hadn't seen it
right firsthand.
All the and all these people queuing up and
excuse me.
Maybe when more local community stuff was a thing with church groups, like say conservative clubs, working men's clubs, all these other sort of communal places. People, when you had issues, you had that a bit more support.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it's a bit life affirming to see people doing that off their own backs, because they're not getting paid to do this. They're not.
No.
They're going and collecting this food, fundraising, and putting on these other groups.
Yeah.
To help people out.
That's good.
It's good.
That is good, but that shouldn't have to be kind of happening, should it? Really, I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
And we have this view in Britain that we can afford everything that we have. So we have this view that we should have a good standard of living.
Yeah.
That we should have good healthcare. That we should be able to have a good social welfare system.
Yeah.
But we just can't afford it.
Yeah.
And that's why private people are having to do that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think, though, for me as well, though, sometimes when you see the breaking down of these, like, community things, I always wonder, being as cynical as I am about, sort of government and rulership and all that kind of thing, is it because there's a plan to implement things that they know we're not going to like, whether it's necessary or not for the longevity of the world and, global warming, whatever. They're going to implement a series of things as we approach. We know Agenda 2030 is a thing, and it has all these things that it's outlined that it's going to implement, rule out poverty, own nothing and be happy, this kind of thing, as they implement those things. If you have a strong sense of community nationwide, then that's all.
Oh, wow, that is loud.
I knew that was going to happen. But then, obviously, people come together.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember what the law was that they tried to change in Denmark.
Yeah.
And they literally rallied outside, essentially, their kind of Houses of Parliament or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever building it was that was responsible for legislation and lawmaking. And they just banged pots and pans outside for like 5 days straight, and they took it in shifts. So when some of them went home to sleep, other people took over, and the noise was just horrendous, banging these pots and pans. And they did that for like 5 days straight as a country, if you like, came together and said, we're not having this. And they did. They reversed it and changed it. And I just think, if you've got like a broken society, for whatever reason, but let's say, people don't stand together, don't have that community spirit, then these changes kind of go through, and less people can't make a difference if all they're doing is sitting at home and moaning about it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Which is the kind of situation we're in. I don't like this. I don't like what's going on in the world, but nobody comes together to do anything about it. And if you break that down, surely you as a government, you can do things.
Carte blanche to do what you want.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, you saw it recently.
That could be completely wrong, but
you did see it recently with them trying to push through the digital ID on the back of all the immigration rhetoric, because people were really upset about that. So they obviously went. I don't think you could really, say they didn't use it as an excuse to do it, because they did, because they said it would stop illegal immigrants getting work.
That was their first thing.
Now they've had to scale back on the digital ID because there was so much uproar about it.
You can't turn away from a petition that size.
No,
I think
3
now
4
it is
million?
the biggest petition.
It was 3 or 4 million, I think. Oh, well, last time I checked it anyway.
Yeah, and it's probably still climbing the more people know about it, because nobody wants that. But you do feel a little bit like, and then we will go to a break, that like almost they go, oh no, well, we're not going to make it mandatory now, you've kind of won. Yeah. But they're still, you know what I mean? That's almost like, oh, they're responding, but there's no change.
No, well, they did the same thing with the farmers, so this inheritance tax. Yeah. So bringing in high inheritance tax over, when kids inherit a farm worth over $1 million. Yeah. Now they've had to sort of modify it a bit so it's not as bad, because farmers did protest and they drove tractors into London.
And we didn't see much of that either, did we? Only again,
I saw nothing on the
X.
news. Yeah,
you see it on X, and is that why they're going after X? Again, speculation, but you go on X and you see all these videos of these tractors, you know what I mean, in London, and like the convoys, and you go, why isn't this on the news? Because they don't want, because more people would probably be in support of them, and then join them, and it would. But if that would be the response of the nation to seeing that, I'm going to go and join that, then obviously, why wouldn't you want to, encourage the nation to respond in that way, if it's, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm probably not making much sense now, so we are going to go to a short commercial break, and we will be back after this broadcast.
Do you enjoy painting your shed? Well, now you can do it every single day with totally useless washable shed paint. Contains no chemicals and washes away after the first rainfall, so you can go back to doing what you love. Totally useless. Buy now while stocks last. International shipping available.
Right. Okay. Timer.
Wow, time attack.
Should we set them all off?
Imagine. That's a bit of a special episode, that does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You could have a race.
You're going to do them all?
No, we'll just do it. Yeah, you're gone. We'll do three.
But then, oh my god, I've gone too far.
Let's keep us on track, won't it? Be like one after the other. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed that. And we are back.
We are
back.
We're
and
back.
yeah, we've got another half hour, and then I think dearest Vicky is popping in.
That'll be nice.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Sound like an enthusiastic,
Bizarre.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I just talking about? Yeah, apparently, because we're just talking about radio and music, there was the Artist of the Week on BBC Introducing a few weeks back was a 100% AI artist.
Wow.
It made all the music using prompts.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I saw on TikTok were kicking off saying, BBC Introducing, this is like, it's hard enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For independent artists to get that kind of airtime and that, opportunity. There's enough out, like, to have an Artist of the Week that was purely AI generated was it upset a few people, and I kind of understand that.
I think there's going to be some transition, because obviously you're going to get a lot of AI generated content, whether it be music, film, whatever. But I just feel like it's not gonna.
So the ticking's like well off-putting.
We've got multiple timers going here for some reason.
That sounds horrendous. It's really. It's like Dr. Emmett Brown in Back to the Future, and he goes in and it's got all the clocks.
Yeah, I feel like
my experiment worked.
It worked. We've gone back to a Chinese timer factory in 1997.
I'm going to be late for school.
Yeah, so I feel.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah,
I know there's going to be a lot more AI. I think. As well, there is still that historic transition from analog to digital. Yeah. And people thought that samplers were going to ruin the world, and that sampling music, which is the basis and foundation of pretty much most hip hop, and electronic music. Is it Daft Punk? Yeah. What's that song that's like? Oh, I can't think. One more time. There was a video I saw the other day where it showed where it sampled that from. Right. So it was like an original song, and it sampled that bit, and that bit, and then looped them into this thing, and it's become one of the biggest tunes. Yeah. Sampling music and that kind of thing, and the whole digital thing, it's like now, oh my gosh, there'd be a world of music that didn't exist because
but that was like adding a tool
if it wasn't for that.
So it depends what AI, I think if people use AI as a tool and it's not they're not using it to do everything, then I think it can still feel like it, you know, someone's produced it creatively.
Yeah.
I think if you're just using prompts and AI is making a whole song, I mean, I've listened to a number and there's something that doesn't feel quite right.
No. But have you seen that comparison of it's Will Smith eating spaghetti and it says like 2023, it's like the prompt was Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all like, his face is all mangled and he's got spaghetti coming out of his eyes.
He's got 9 fingers.
Yeah, and like, it's just all like really strange. But now, like, you do it and it looks like Will Smith.
Yeah.
You can't notice there's no anomalies or anything like that. It's literally wow.
I know.
And that is just, less than 2 years, like, or whatever it said. It said this is 2-point-something years of AI advancement on the video, and it's like, oh my gosh, if that continues, it will be indistinguishable from
I mean, I remember
reality.
We've talked before about P. Diddy's whole thing, but immediately after he was initially in court, I just remember seeing a video and it was P. Diddy, Harvey Weinstein and Epstein all in prison together. Yeah. But it looks so real.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that was where you're like, okay, well, you know, where is this going to go? Like you say, in 5 years, what are you going to be able to create? It's going to be
problematic, isn't it? But once you develop a world where people think that writing the prompt is enough of creativity, that, you know, I can't see, especially with how excited I've been the last few days, you know, like making music, that you could get the same passion and excitement from typing a prompt. I want a country and western song about a girl called Lucy or whatever, you know, and then it coming up with that thing. I can't see myself getting lost in that and going, no, I can't, I don't want to go to bed because I'm so into this prompt and it's so stimulating.
Yeah.
It's like...
But then, you know, someone would have said that before sampling, that, you know, where they're having to play every note out.
Baking tapes in the oven.
Yeah.
They literally had to bake the tapes to a certain temperature to put them on the tape machine.
Yeah.
You know, and also, like, they used to spin the tape to find the transient of a snare and edit that and, like, cut the tape and splice it back together. You know, that's a skill in itself, and it was like a workflow. What do you know what I mean? It was a method.
I mean, I think it's going to be that thing, though, isn't it, where you get a new, technology that changes everything. So, you know, you go analog to digital, vinyl to CD. People go, no one's going to want to buy CDs because it's not going to sound right. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, because enough people then were just happy with consuming digital content, you know, because CDs, that was became the new norm. So I think the general level, so your average pop song and whatnot, and the average person that's listening to a song that isn't particularly necessarily into, you know, isn't an audiophile or whatever, you know, it will probably be enough for them. Yeah. You know, they'll probably be quite happy with that. Yeah. And your average movie now, they'll be quite happy with the CGI that's in it, that's not brilliant, but it's been done by AI, and you could do a lot better with a team of 100 people, but they'll be fine with that.
Yeah. It does make me wonder, you know, like, whether there'll be... people might be less consistent, because there was a certain satisfaction gained from learning how to EQ a track, or you know, your master, like, and processing the master, and you know, dialing in the right compression settings, and you know, listening and noticing what frequencies were masked, you know, by another instrument. You know, it's that whole thing as well. When I was sort of like working with somebody going back a few years, and they said, oh, the vocals need to be louder. And I started messing with the piano and the drums, because I knew it wasn't a case of turning the vocals up. Like, things needed moving out the way so that the vocal would be more up front. You know, and that really did their head in, because it's like, why are you messing with the piano now? Like, what, you're not listening to me? Why are you messing with the drums? I'm like, no, because I can hear that they're causing the problem. That's why the vocal sounds lost. It's nothing to do with the vocal. It's fine. But you know, but that kind of thing, if you've got a plug-in, and I know like Ozone now is one that a lot of people use, and you just click analyze, it analyzes the track and gives you the best EQ curve.
Yeah.
And like that is, it's like this kind of AI algorithmic mastering. I don't know, like I just think you'd get bored easier and give up on music as a thing, because it's not stimulating to just push a button.
Yeah.
Like the excuse me, that's those natural flavourings jelly babies that we just had. You know, like the old sync argument for DJs.
Yeah.
Like pressing sync is like, you know, frowned upon. And it's obviously not as stimulating as actually matching the BPM of two records, and, you know, the belt, when it's belt driven and you can like literally slow down.
The problem is, you know, like if you're going to watch a DJ because of you're into DJing and the skills they've got, they still existed and they still did well.
Yeah.
But for all the other, like your average scenario, not an issue. And this is and unfortunately what's going to happen.
Yeah, with
but it's the same thing, like I say, with film and television. Like your lowbrow stuff, where people don't really care, will go that way, and the highbrow stuff, you know, will still exist. There just might be less of it, but then it may get rid of a lot of. It'll get so. Like, if you look at what AI is going to do generally in jobs, it'll get rid of a lot of the jobs where it's not massively necessary. So, like people doing data entry and menial, you know, jobs, it will get rid of them. And that's the same thing it's going to do in music. It'll get rid of a lot of the mid-level music that wasn't particularly great on any end of the spectrum. It'll get replaced with AI music. But the people who were listening to that weren't trying to listen to something that's amazing. So, you know, the people that were maybe making that weren't... I just think, like, you know, when digital print came along, for example, and you had all these amazing artists making these prints, and then digital print came along, it didn't necessarily mean that the, you know, old-fashioned print disappeared. If anything, they were worth more. Yeah, it's just they, you know, 90% of the market was made up with the digital stuff. But for the people that weren't that bothered whether it was all, you know, authentic or not, or one of a kind or whatever. Yeah. So I think it will go that way. And my hope is that people that are making genuinely creative music and really going through the process with a passion, and the same again with filmmaking and everything else, they will be put on a, you know, they will make it to a higher point that they may have made it before, because you'll have all this AI pop drivel, whatever it is, and then they'll you know, they'll have this above. And when you look at like what musicians earn generally, it may have no impact on those people that are trying to do that. Yeah. Because it's hard anyway, and if you can make it to that level, it'll more likely affect your boy bands and stuff like that would, you know, maybe they won't exist in the same way anymore because there's no need. You know, your average pop is what I'm getting at. Yeah. Not singling out boy groups.
No, I think there'll always be a need for, you know, people will always need to create, regardless of what the competition is, you know, regardless of what else is going on. Certainly for me, I create because I want to, because I need to. It's that kind of, you know, getting something out of your system. So it's a necessary process. It's not the end result of sharing it and hopefully, you know, causing somebody to have a good day or have a pleasant experience when they listen to it. That's, you know, that's always the aim at the end of it. But it's not the ultimate aim. You know, there's some bits of music that I've made and I've never shown anybody or released it, but I went through that process for a different reason. And who knows where it's going to go with the whole prompting thing. I think there'll be possibly a wider market for authenticity.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
you know,
there'll be a place that people go to because it's real people.
Yeah, but again, like, what percentage of people listen to music because they are real, you know, really into music? You know, it's
there's more than you think.
Yeah, but it's probably like 20%, say.
Yeah.
Maybe, 20-25%.
That's a sad figure.
Yeah, but it's probably true.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
The rest of them they might like music, but they're not really into music.
Do you think there were more years ago when like hi-fis were had a what do you say, a pride of place in the front room?
Yeah, possibly.
You had a hi-fi with a glass cabinet, and you either went for Marantz or JVC or whatever the makes were at the time, and then you had your Kenwoods and everything else. But these lovely kind of racks with the record player on the top, and your tuner and everything else, and the big speakers.
And also people used to, if you think about that generation that would have bought that equipment, 70s, say, 70s, 80s.
Yeah, 70s, 80s.
Then they would have been predominantly, when they would have been buying that, probably, I don't know, say they're in their 30s or 40s. So they would have grown up in a generation where you went out to listen to live music a lot more. And especially if you go back further than that, if you look post-war, well, wartime and post-war, 40s, 50s, 60s, that's what everybody did.
Yeah.
They went out to a dance on a Saturday night or whatever,
Yeah, live music was...
Yeah, so, but yeah, I think, it's never going to end up being what you think it's going to be. And, there's always going to be a pride of place for people that are still, so if you imagine turn of the century and they bring in the textiles machines.
Yeah.
And they're like, right, that's going to get rid of all handmade clothing.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
No.
You still buy handmade clothing now, and you still pay a premium for it. And people still consider this hand-woven cashmere jumper to be worth more than any...
going back to sampling, it's like people still make and craft instruments. Guitars still, there's lots of people that have guitars. Violins and orchestras still exist and all that kind of thing. Sampling didn't destroy it completely.
No.
You know what I mean? So that will live on. And it's almost like a bit of a kind of special thing now if you go and see a live orchestra. So yeah, there definitely is that. But also going back to the stereos and stuff, even in the 90s, every person's house that I went round had one of those stereos that you used to get out the catalogue, and they'd look like quite futuristic, you know what I mean, like triple bass boost, blah blah blah, and then it's like the five CD changer and it
bright
says
lights
hello
on the front,
and all that kind of stuff, and they did sound good as well. They sounded really beefy. They were everybody had those, and now I'd see less and less of that, and most people use an Alexa. Or a Google Assistant in the corner of the kitchen window. And it's kind of loud. Like when you turn it up, it's loud enough.
The quality's not there.
No, the experience isn't there, and it's such a shame.
But
really.
again, it's that thing that people just, the expectation and the level of what is it, acceptable or whatever. It just goes down. I think it's tied in as well with everyone getting phones, having music on your phones. Because ultimately that affected the sound quality, and then you got used to listening to music on phones because you didn't have a stereo there or a Bluetooth speaker. So it's going to be interesting.
Also as well, there's way more TV channels now. It's like you had channel 1, 2 and 3 and channel 4. I know it sounds like I'm really old now, but I just mean in channel 5 or whatever, there was only so much on TV. There would be periods of the day where you go, I'm not going to put the TV on now because I don't want to watch what's on channel 1. Channel 2 is whatever it is. Channel 3 is that rubbish program, and Channel 4, I don't want to watch TV at the minute. So you'd go and listen to music or do something else or play, old computer games, whatever. But now it's like people get home, they want to decompress. They can literally go onto Netflix, watch any box series. There's Paramount, there's Amazon, there's Now TV, there's Netflix, there's all these things. And it's like, so there's less need for music to fill that void. You can always find something.
But that is also a prime example of where the quality of what they produce, film-wise and TV program-wise, has generally gone down because they're just trying to produce enough content for the platform. However, the people will pay for different streaming services specifically to watch certain programs that have been done really well. So that's like, analogous to, you know, AI coming in and dropping the general level of music down.
Yeah.
But people are still paying to hear the good stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they will, and it's, you know, there is always some, you know, like with film, it's going to get rid of a lot of CGI jobs.
Yeah.
For the low end stuff, which is a shame. And it'll be the same for music. You know, a lot of, like, is a TV program going to need to pay someone to make a soundtrack for them for a TV program, or have to buy the music? No, they'll probably just make something using AI.
Yeah.
So we'll get, again, you might call that the low end of music production.
Yeah.
Will probably go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is,
it's not just music. It's
but it's everything. That's the thing.
A few people that are like bitter because they invested a lot of time learning how to animate and do 3D modeling and that kind of thing, and now that's like, you know, some of this Sora stuff and Google Gemini, is it like Banana or something?
I don't know. You've got Copilot, Gemini, Sora,
and Grok as well. Like some of the stuff that's producing. So yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have, you know.
I mean, we're in a really weird period, because in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't think it's going to be next year or year after, but in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a lot of big changes in virtually every industry. I don't think there's going to be any industry that isn't affected in one way or another. Now, if you're in a factory that builds high-tech AI robots, then you probably are going to still keep your job for a while. But at some point, your job's going to go. If you're a plumber, well, at the moment, the robots they've got aren't going to be able to plumb your house. So your job will probably last longer. The bigger problem is what happens, and jobs will evolve, so you'll need people to do jobs that didn't really exist before. It's turn of the century, get rid of horse and cart, all the stables went, all the farriers went, etc. But then you needed mechanics to maintain the cars. So unfortunately, people are going to have to evolve with it, adapt, and transition, learn new skills. But quite how it's going to, the biggest problem is after we figured out how we need to adapt. That's fine, because then the younger generation will just learn different skills.
It's not going
but now we're in that position where you've got people that have, so say you've just come out of university and you've just spent 150k in fees to become a lawyer, a junior lawyer. Well, already a senior lawyer can do all the work of the junior lawyer using AI in a fraction of the time. So they don't need the junior lawyers anymore.
Now, you did say this on another episode, didn't you? And then eventually, and I have heard this on, you know, a few people talking about this. I think it was Elon Musk, wasn't it? And Joe Rogan, and he was saying that, well, there's not going to be any seniors. Because the seniors got there through this process of being a junior.
And that's when the real issue
comes from the seniors. So yeah, you're going to have this point where it's like, that's all like expired and eroded.
The most worrying thing for me, because people are very, very good at adapting. So it'll be annoying if you've gone and got yourself in debt and you've got to relearn new skills. You know, frustrating, you know, not something I'd wish on anyone. However, people will adapt. The bigger problem is if we do end up in this scenario that some people theorise where a lot of the jobs go and, you know, the governments have to bring in some kind of universal basic incomes. We've already got high instances of people feeling depressed, demotivated, detached from society. If you are getting paid to stay at home, but you're only getting paid just enough money to survive, you know, like you were saying, you know, you would still make music because you love doing it. Going to work is a necessary focus for people. It'd be fine if you didn't have to go to work, if you had enough money that then you could choose whatever you wanted to do, and you wouldn't be on holiday all the time. You would just find things that you wanted to do. A lot of people that, you know, are quite wealthy still do some work 1 or 2 days a week just to keep themselves ticking over because they want to do it. You know, there's a social aspect to it. You know, so societal. I don't know what happens if we end up in that scenario. You know, and it's not to fearmonger or anything. I just don't know what. You know, so I think, next sort of 5-10 years are going to be very interesting.
I think less than 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends what you're looking at.
Yeah,
like,
I know
for example, if you're a taxi driver now, it's really hard because of Uber. If you're a private taxi driver,
right?
But they've already okayed in London, Weibo. They're gonna bring in Tesla self-driving taxis. In a lot of San Francisco, Silicon Valley, all those places in America, they've already got all the self-driving cars. Like 30% of cars on the road there are self-driving.
Wow.
So. Yeah, I mean, all those people are going to be affected probably quicker than some other industries. Some other industries will be affected even quicker than that.
Yeah.
But you won't necessarily feel immediately, because to start with, you're going to need people to train the AIs.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that are obviously training AIs for robotics at the moment. And the problem becomes, we had the ability to kind of have AI robotics before. We had all the bits, but it was a computation that was so expensive, because to have an AI robot do something competently, it was going to cost you 100k to build this robot, whereas now they can build them for 5k. You know,
it's the same with like flat screen technology. When they first came out, you know, even the old like TFTs or something they're called, you know, they were really expensive, and now you can get massive flat screens for like, you know, a fraction of the cost, and it's going to be the same with that technology as well, with the robots and stuff. The driverless cars thing does almost make me think of Total Recall, because you know on Total Recall where he's got the bug in his like head, and he's tracking him on a screen, and it's like you can see it going round, and I was like, oh, imagine if we had that, like where you could track it. And sure enough, GPS came out, and we have that now. You can look at a map and see exactly where somebody
location
is, and just, you know what I mean. Even like I think Snapchat and stuff as well, you can like see exactly where somebody is. So that exists, but also like the Johnny Cab, where it's like that robot, and it goes, you're in a Johnny Cab.
We're pretty much there.
And then when he gets in and goes, drive, drive, he goes, could you repeat the destination, like kind of thing, and then he rips it out and
drives himself
with this little crappy joystick. But like it would be bad to jump in a driverless car and it not go anywhere, or you can't go there, you're not authorized to go to that, you've only got a 15-minute city destination. Like, you can't go outside of a certain radius.
I suppose the key is not getting so hung up on things that you can't know if they're going to happen or not. Being aware enough of what the possibilities are, so that if you do decide that you're not happy with where it's going, you can make that known through voting or protesting or whatever you want to do. But obviously, like recently, and a lot of people don't seem to know this with the Digital Communications Act, that they've brought in the ability. Well, they're looking to have the ability at reading people's encrypted messages very soon, which is something most people need to be aware of. So in an ideal world, they're trying to get WhatsApp and Telegram and whatnot to fold to the point where they put a backdoor in so the government can see what message you send before it gets encrypted.
They'll see it before it gets encrypted.
So you haven't even sent it yet, surely?
No. So it'd be scanned. When you press send, it would get scanned and checked before it gets encrypted to go to the receiver. It's like, well, what's the point of the encryption?
Well, there is no point. No, so someone other than the government can't see it.
It's that's bizarre, and I don't like that. There has to be an element of privacy for freedom, and unfortunately, there are. You know,
I suspect they'll use. So there was a thing last year where a lot of criminals in Europe were using something called Encro phones.
Right.
Now these are
satellite phones.
No, it was an app you download on your phone, and it fully encrypts all your messages from there. But it's like they get a separate phone for it. So it was totally, you couldn't be hacked. Basically, governments couldn't pick up on it. Now the governments found one of these phones when they arrested somebody, and then they approached the company and forced them to give them a backdoor in.
Right.
And with that, they then brought down some quite big drug smuggling rings that were based in England, Holland, Number of other countries.
I think I did hear something about that. Not to interrupt, and I understand that, like, tactically, that's kind of useful in some scenarios. But it's the whole thing about innocent until proven guilty, and the fact is, you can't just make everybody a suspect for that reason.
Yeah,
and treat everybody as though they're criminals. You know what I mean?
Like, no, definitely. So, I mean, my point was going to be, they can use things like that as justification.
Yeah.
Now, I think the way it is at the moment, whereby, say, the government, police force, whoever, thought I was doing something I shouldn't be doing, they can approach WhatsApp and ask for that data.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like, I'm half okay with that, because I feel like, okay, well, if I've done something enough that they want to look at me, then, you know, but they would have to have justification for that.
Yes.
And WhatsApp would get to choose, do you have enough evidence to suggest that I'm the leader of a drug smuggling ring? No, you don't. Well, we're not going to give you the data.
Right.
And that's within the laws.
Yes.
But this just totally goes around all of that, And then who is making the decision as to what is worthy of being sent on for further looking? If I send you a message jokingly saying, I'm going to... had a shit day, I'm going out to blow some eggs up in my garden, I've got some cesium.
Yeah.
You and I know. Wow, that is a loud time.
We've got some more to go, haven't we?
Yeah.
Pardon my French, sorry.
You and I know that we're just messing about, but is that going to get me a knock on the door?
But at the end of the day, there does need to be something in place, because if they could prevent, some absolutely catastrophic kind of attack, that, as if you lost loved ones in something like that, you'd be saying, why didn't they do more? Why didn't they investigate? Why didn't they intervene? Why weren't they allowed to see those messages? So there are scenarios where...
The problem is, the UK police...
They say it's justified, but...
have already proved that they... So like with the Manchester Arena bombings, the suspects were on the terrorist watch list.
Yeah.
So evidently, if they'd had more access, it wouldn't have necessarily changed anything.
No.
So really it's more about, doing effective policing than it is about having access to...
Well, we can touch upon this next time, but it makes you wonder, because of that, and if it is, like, kind of fallible in that sense, what is the motive? Why are they doing this? Why do they want? And is it because of something that's coming down the line that they're going to really want to monitor people's dissent and discussions? And, you know what I mean? Like... is there another reason for it? Because ultimately, like you just said, it kind of doesn't make sense, because with the powers that they've had, they've not utilised them. So
I just don't really understand why the current government is getting very authoritarian. I don't understand, because like that's not happening over the whole world.
Oh, kind of.
Not everybody is getting that more. UK is one example.
We're not really hearing about it, but like Australia, New Zealand, there's things going on over there as well. At the minute, and it like one country brings in one thing, and then they all follow suit and stuff. But we'll save that for another time. Yes, thank you for listening and watching, if you're still here, and we will be back very soon.
Promise to be more lively and enthused next week.
Yeah, it's just me today, but I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you.
There you go.
There's the last one, perfect timing. And thank you very much. We'll be back soon. Take care, look after yourselves and each other. Give it away, Joseph.
Goodbye. See you next time.
Based upon the quality and quantity of the data they continue to return.